Hi, my name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Museum Open House. This ongoing series features and highlights many of the outstanding museums and other cultural institutions. The main purpose of most programs is to inform viewers about current and upcoming exhibits, various programs, resources, and other opportunities that are available for the general public. Today, via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guest Cicely Carew. Cicely is a highly accomplished multimedia artist, and she's here today to inform us about her current exhibition at the Fuller Craft Museum entitled BeLOVEd, which is a visionary site-specific installation combining sculpture, video, and a soundscape to create an immersive, meditative experience. During the program, we'll go on a behind the scenes tour and in the process come to better understand and appreciate Cicely's artistry and her overall vision for this sanctuary for reflection, spirituality, and exploration. Let's start by meeting Cicely and then hearing all about BeLOVEd. Cicely, welcome. I'm so delighted you're able to be here.
Thank you for having me, Jay. I'm so excited to be here as well.
Oh, I had the wonderful opportunity to visit the exhibition a couple of weeks ago and was just blown away by your artistry, the creativity that you bring to all your work, and just to follow your career since first became aware of it with Ambrosia at the Prudential Center 4 years ago already. So it's fabulous to catch up again and to hear about your current work. But before we jump right to that, I think it would be of interest if you'd like to share just anything else about your background, professional, artistic interest.
Yeah. Well, I like to say now I'm a human first, and then all the other things that I'm a mother. Um, I'm a I was a movement facilitator. That definitely informs my work and is inspiring to me and grounding and a part of my practice and what I bring into spaces and how I enter into my practice every day. Um, and like to share with the general public if I can. Um, what else? I'm I'm inspired by everything. I am an observer of the world and a nature lover. Just, a child of Earth, and I love humanity. So,
Wonderful. Well, speaking of inspiration, what inspired you for BeLOVEd?
well, um, at the time, I was really thinking about where we were in culturally and society, geopolitically, um, and meeting the moment, trying to think like, how can I allow there to be space for spaciousness? We're being bombarded by so much. That's not a great choice of words, but just thinking about what we can't ignore. And I think there's a lot of waking up that was happening, and it's a rude awakening for so many, and how we're grappling with these ideas. And that's external, but also internal. Like, what are our beliefs? How is that impacting us and our thought and what we're seeing or being, turning away from, and turning away from others? And I felt that there has become such a great divide and disconnect one to one another. And that also requires us to disconnect from ourselves and how we feel and our bodies and how much we're living up in our heads and not in our hearts. And that's not something that's practiced or taught. And so for me, I was really thinking about that, like, how is this keeping me out of love? How is this keeping me out of just being and wanting to create a sacred container? And I think that first it's just like going into my own little cocoon, and we can't do that all the time. That's a privilege. But for anybody who can take the time to just slow down, that's the space I wanted to provide to meet you exactly where you are and just say, like, you can be here. You can be loved exactly as you are. There's no right or wrong way to be, to think, to see, to do. Um, and and just return to that knowing like we are here because we are loved, and we can see each other and the love in one another because that's our common humanity, like, and feel more connected and feel more present, um, with, and just like drop judgment, drop all the things that keep us separate. So, and separate from self and separate from Mother Nature. So that's really what came to mind and it's behind everything.
No, and I think how you eloquently gave us the background is even more and more important since you first created it. The idea of the daily bombardment from outside forces, the news, need these type of spaces that you have the vision to create to do some reflection and just try to make sense of it all. And as you say at the end, just to be loved or beloved, which again, I think is a nice option with the title that you chose in a very clever way as well.
Thank you.
Can you share a little bit? We have some wonderful images to take a look at the exhibition and going to move our way through there. And this wonderful long shot to give people who haven't had a chance to visit yet just a sense of how things are laid out. And we have some other wonderful shots to show what you're exhibiting. But I know you are very attuned to the spaces
Mhm.
that you do your work and just interested in how this space at the Full of Craft influenced the overall exhibition.
Yeah, this was a container. I saw it. Um, it's not just a pass through, it's a connection point. I think that that was really interesting to me. Um, and then also like it has these walls that are far enough apart that you can feel their presence. And it's like a hug just walking through. And
Yeah.
that's the feeling that I got and I wanted to maintain. But there's, this beautifully high ceilings, and then you have the walls, and then this pass through this little breezeway. And it, for me, was a space that I've envisioned for a really long time. I've been in other incredible spaces, but this one was just like pouring light through it. And also, it was large that I was inspired by its enormity, but also contained enough that I thought, okay, this is where I could go floor to ceiling
Mm.
and work the space in this way that feels manageable, one, and um, and it just like invited me to play and say like, I want you to go wild and go everywhere. And then there's also like the color of the walls that light up during the day. And it, to me, what I also thought about in terms of like the container was, what would it be like to be inside a human-sized terrarium?
Mm.
One of the thoughts. And this the space was very conducive to that. So it was great. It was perfect for me.
Could you share a little bit more about your process, like when you first encountered the space and go back maybe to your studio or when you're in there,
Mhm.
your initial vision and how that develops and changes over time until we see this fabulous exhibition?
Yeah, there's a lot of just dreaming. I walk into this space and I can feel it. So it's like, uh, how do I, the way I try to explain it is more like a sense of gravity that I can feel in my body, and that's the feeling that I'm holding while I'm thinking about what might come next, how expansive it could be, and so I work with the feeling of it,
Hmm.
and then from there I'll get floor plans, but I'm believe it or not a terribly visual person. So I'm not at all actually. I'm I learn auditorily, so I can feel the space and like I'm kinetic in that way as
Mm.
well. So it's more I'm thinking of like the echoes throughout that I'm hearing, like what is the sound? What is kind of the vibration of it, and how did it make me feel? How was I moving through that space? And so then from there, I was thinking about the kinds of materials that would lend themselves to creating something that felt like that first like hug I
Mm.
felt
Mm.
when I was in there. Um, so the way I also approached it was to amass an incredible amount of materials. I was just preparing, just playing in my studio. I go and buy or I repurpose old pieces to recreate life. And I think I like to honor the cycle of life and creation and say like everything is always in play, everything has a purpose and can be renewed and rebirthed, and nothing, there's no trash, it's treasure. And so that's always my mantra. Um, and I wanted to bring in life, like plant life. And I had gone through the woods and was
Mm.
collecting all these pine needles because I love the smell of pine. And I wanted to put people into nature, into this wild, organic, abstract, colorful nature or a naturescape. And but that wasn't possible. So I thought, okay, it's always there. So I'll play with that feeling. It's this aliveness, but everything's moving, and I'm wanting to just contain that idea. So you are physically being placed into what I would like to think of as a painting. You are
Mhm.
part of this. Like you are not separate from anything, and that's the continuous thread, is that you're connected to every part of it, and everything that you're looking at is reflected back at you. Like, we're friends. Um, so to walk around things, to look inside them, to peek around and get curious,
Mm.
invite that sense of like there's no wrong way to do what feels right to you, is how I was also wanting to create for the space and for viewers that would come. Um, so there's everything I felt like would just meet you wherever you are. If you are a photo, print person,
Mm.
then, here, this is a gift. If you are thinking of sculpture and you're like, I can relate to that, okay, let's do that. And so I wanted it to be very relational, um, and feel like it does when you walk into the woods, at least for me. I feel like met. So
Yeah, no, it
great for
definitely feels like a sanctuary that you might encounter in the woods setting for sure. Now, the multimedia approach is so impressive, as you said, to offer something for any number of people as well as the materials. Could you share a little bit about the use of video and sound in addition to the artwork that we get to enjoy?
Yeah. Um, well, it's a challenging thing for me. I think I love the idea of storytelling in that medium because it's not my medium or my
Mhm.
like ultimate skill set, but in terms of the way that I wanted to offer intimate moments of connection points throughout, video seemed appropriate for that. And then I thought of designing these little peekaboo boxes that I think of when I look at a tree and there's that little hole, like who's
Yeah,
living in
yeah.
there? What's living in there? And that feels really fun and playful to me. And um, so it's my version of a black box theater, just reduced down to an individual, like this is for you. This is your moment to settle and to listen, to smell. There's scents that are inside of there to ground and be with what's there. So you have this personalized soundscape that one
Mm.
is like a little prayer box. It's reciting. A friend of mine, Razan Durir, is singing. She has a beautiful voice. So she's singing this song that I hear when I or I'll sing to myself when I walk through the woods, and it's just like, you're not alone. We're
Mm.
here, and hold my hand. I'm holding your hand. We're together. So you have that moment, which is really beautiful and lovely. And then in the other boxes, they're sound baths. They're compilations of sound baths that I've done over time over the last couple of years, because I had a couple of years lead time on this, and
Ah,
sounds. And so that's a amalgamation of the bowls, the crystal bowls that I play, and then sound that I've captured out in the world, so little field recordings, um, and other instruments that if I've been somewhere and I just like get a clip of it. So it's like repurposed, reimagined moments through time that I'm just weaving together. And it all kind of translates to painting in my mind of like layer and texture and the feeling. But they're little moments to say like this is for you. You have this, and hopefully you walk away feeling like that was for me. um, I realized I didn't address your last question. The word that I'll say of how I work through these spaces is improvisation.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, your sense of play and openness. I mean, I think those are two key features that keep hearing over and over talking to incredible artists like yourself, successful inventors, is just that interest, that openness, and just messing about even before any grand plan is established. And just to see, as you so well said a few minutes ago, where things might go and nothing is trash and see what could become of something. Very interested in how you refer to some of your work as flying paintings. Can you share that terminology and how you apply it to your work?
Yeah, it's a nod to the nomadic paintings. I'm thinking of Sam Gilliam comes to mind when I said that. I don't know if I coined that term or not, flying paintings, but to me, I was like, I want to make a painting fly. I'm making flying paintings. Just do something that's leaping off of the canvas and out of the uh 2D. That second dimension to me is fertile ground for creation and capturing the thoughts that pass through, and um, it's exciting. And then I was also wanting more. Like I can't make this painting move. It is static. And how do I articulate its dynamism and play between those spaces? And I feel like that's my own way of relating to life. Like I want to be able to move in between and honor that space that we're always in. We're always changing, and it's an in between. And at moments it's appropriate to be in this space, and then the next, we'll meet the space or meet that moment in this other dimension because we have to keep expanding. So I call it painting and flying painting because we have leapt out of that two-dimensional space, but I'm also approaching it the way that I do, traditional painting, um, and just taking it up, but also thinking of how I'm always reaching for something higher. And
Mhm.
so it feels like they do need to be always expanding upward.
No, you sensational use of space here, and as I'm remembering at the Prudential Center as well. How do you think craft, as celebrated at the Full of Craft, intersects with you and your practice?
You know, I asked myself the same question. And because I hadn't thought of myself as a craft. But um and so it's an honor to be in that space, like, oh, you'll take me in here and I belong in this place. Um, but I think it's because, there's moments of this is assemblage. Like I am working with these practices that uh, are of a language that is articulated in other ways, in other forms. So craft for me, I always think of like something that's smaller, um,
Yeah.
and takes a lot of precision and time and has a lineage, and there is a methodology that's been developed and then passed down. So for me, it's I think where I fit in is or how I relate to it is that it's also invented. There's weaving that's happening. There is assembling that's happening. There's gathering that's happening. I'm honoring a tradition in a different form, um, but I am creating these pieces in ways that are of like the universal language that transcends language, that it is
Mm.
about containing memory, preserving it, um, marking moments, and through a visual nature, and however that manifests. But it's I think crafted because it's working in the 3D and working with the
Mhm.
body, and yeah, I think I'm trying to like still figure out how to articulate that thought, or like the way that, for lack of better terms, like to justify it. But I think that just like it's like the progression of craft, and it's taking it to the next step. Like this is the updated. It can also look like
Mhm.
this. It's the and so I appreciate it that way.
Most definitely, most definitely. What's been some of the reaction and feedback from visitors, from museum people, uh, others that you've interacted with, to BeLOVEd?
Yeah. Um, I've received a lot of really positive feedback. It just the watching, I like to go into some spaces and be a silent witness to this. Um, what I've heard is delight, is wow. Or someone wrote to me that they said they overheard someone else saying, oh my God, uh, which is great.
Mhm.
um, or, ooh, I heard kids say, like, come back and look at this, come over here. And like little squeals and giggles. But even there are these two women that kept bouncing around to the videos and peeking their heads in. And I heard that also children are like trying to climb up and hoist themselves up and to get inside the box. Um, Someone came and took the little spoons I have of these little offering jars,
Mhm.
which might be offensive, but I found it kind of really sweet. Like, oh, this meant something because it means something to me. And it meant enough to you to take a piece with it, just like I want to take um, a leaf that I'll find that's fallen on the floor when I'm done with a hike, or say like, oh, this rock really spoke to me when I was somewhere special, or people take sand from places. So I'm not encouraging stealing. However, it was it it what I've heard is that it's like what people needed. I've heard that like, oh, I needed this. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. And it just like, or the sigh. So I've that's mostly what I've heard and seen, and that feels really, really special. It's just a blessing.
Yeah, no, and it's wonderful to have that bench there to take it all in and to feel like you're truly in a sanctuary and just soaking it in, getting away and trying to, as you said at the beginning, at some level, make sense of things today at whatever level you happen to be reacting with.
Mhm.
What's if visitors left with one feeling or thought, um, what might it be, your intent?
I feel that there's a couple things, but the I think it would be the feeling of possibility,
Mm,
feeling of something left behind, so a lightness. Um, Whatever was brought in there, it would be like, oh, I needed that. Just like to brush that off, or think differently about something that might have been weighing on them. So levity would be the thing, a peacefulness and easefulness. Like, okay, I can do that thing, that next thing, take that next step.
yeah, yeah, no, it's very comforting. And the good news is it'll be on display well into September 20th, right now. So lots of time for people to enjoy it on multiple occasions, as well as all the other wonderful ongoing exhibitions at the Fuller Craft as well. As we're closing, any current or upcoming projects to just briefly mention?
Yeah, I will be a part of the Worcester Botanical Garden, Fort Hill, orchid show. So that will be in the early winter of 2026.
Oh, nice.
I'm looking forward to that. It's coming up. Um, what else? Um, I can't think of anything else on the top of my head right now.
Well, we'll be sure in closing credits to have some contact information so people can keep up to date on what you're working on and where they might be able to see your work displayed. But for now, Cicely, I want to thank you again for taking the time to be here. Definitely encourage people to make the way to the Fuller Craft and to keep on track with all your future endeavors. Continued success.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Also want to thank those of you watching for joining us and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.